a few words can make a world of difference, and that is very key. I don't know, kind of number of times I've said it, that when you talk to people, what you say to them, words are powerful.
Yes.
What you say to them would either make or mar them. Especially for people that are very emotional. You might say something, it might not go down well with them, and then they are having issues, they are questioning who they are, they are questioning, they are the essence of being alive and everything. And that's why it's important for us to have this conversation, and we're going to do that with our guest in the studio. We have Joy Iseki, and she's a counselor, and also she is an author. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
You look amazing. Thank you. You too.
Okay, so today's yellow. Hey, orange.
Okay, so our conversation this morning is on World Mental Health Day 2019, and our focus is on suicide prevention. Now, I need to ask you, what is the significance of World Mental Health Day? What is it all about? Why should it be celebrated? Why is it celebrated yearly?
Okay, I think the significance of World Mental Health Day is basically about awareness.
Right.
In our part of the world, I think it's even more significant because we are here and we have so many funny beliefs about what mental health really is.
Right.
So I think for us here, because I really want to be local now, for us here, Mental Health Awareness Day, it's to kind of sensitize people on what mental health really is about, and then try to kind of balance the beliefs that we have here, to ensure that it is the correct belief. So it's a very important day. At least when you dedicate one day to one thing, it's been a whole week. It's still ongoing till 12th. So today is the main day, 10th. So more people are coming out. Okay, mental health, what is it about? There's a hashtag about it. So people get to know and then they read more about it. So the awareness is awesome.
Fantastic.
Okay, so you are a counselor.
Yes, I am.
And based on conversations you've had with people, and I'm sure you've had conversations with even young people also.
Yes.
Why do you think this awareness is important? What is the main reason why you would pinpoint that people are always complaining about that you feel is important for us to have enough awareness on mental health?
Yeah, I think the fact that anybody can be affected with mental health disorders. It's a big deal concerning awareness. Because sometimes when people hear, oh, somebody has mental health issue, they kind of wonder, can that happen to me? Do you get, there's this thing like, no, it's not me.
Never happen to me.
Do you get it until it happens? So for youth, especially, one thing you need to know is that suicide is the second leading cause of death among 15 to 29 years old, and that's early adulthood.
Wow.
That's the core of the population, especially in Africa. Most of us are basically youths. So now people getting aware that, see, your age mates do die of suicide. Your age may do experience mental disorder. So I think that helps. People are aware and they say, okay, how do I prevent it? How do I take care of my mental health? How do I become more proactive? Which I think is a key thing, and so this day helps us to achieve that.
Okay, so before we break it down and talk about this year's focus, which is suicide prevention, we need to also talk about other mental health illness. Now, the one that is very popular that everyone has been talking about is depression. And that is a major conversation that a lot of people are having right now.
Depression is really common because most times before people commit suicide, they tend to be really depressed. There's anxiety, there's OCD or obsessive compulsive disorder. Then there's schizophrenia, which is most times we say people are mad, that kind of a thing. There's schizophrenia. There's a lot, That's ADHD. That's, we call it attention deficit disorder. That
when you're not able to focus.
It's more common among children. People do overgrow it sometimes, but there are still some adults that actually go through ADHD. So we have them numerously, but in this part of the world, people are more into depression. Okay, depression. What is depression? Am I depressed? Sometimes they are even sad and they're like, am I depressed? So the word is mostly overused sometimes. And wrongly used too.
Wrongly used.
There's a particular story that is dear to me that from personal note now, that there's a particular girl that's because her parents were also always, comparing her to other people. Talking about your mates. What are they doing? See, they're ahead of you. This child doesn't have carryover. She came out with 2-1, first class, and you're having carryovers. Have I not done this? This is for you. And then it affected her psychologically, and she almost took her life. So what do you think parents can do better to help their children see that most times it's not about your grades? It doesn't make you. It doesn't determine who you are. So please Tell me.
Yeah, I like this example. Okay, I'll deal with that practically based on somebody that I just finished handling. There's a student in one of the higher institutions in Nigeria. He's a final year student, and just this case you described is his problem. And it was referred to me by someone. He was suicidal. What happened? It seems to him that he's going to leave school with 2.2, and his parents expect nothing less than 2.1. And so that high expectation and then the reality, weighing the expectations and reality at hand, he couldn't handle it. And this guy became suicidal. Fortunately, he was able to talk to a couple of people, and then somehow, I was connected with him. I worked with him for like 3 months, trying to stabilize him and all of it. So high over expectations from parents. When you expect a particular thing from a child, do you know if the child have the capacity for it? Do you understand? And then when you compare children, you see, I'm always very careful with comparison because we don't know everything to just compare. You're comparing me to someone because of the limited things that you can see. There are so many things, other factors that you're not seeing. Do you understand? We don't really know all things. So I think for that boy, it was a difficult thing. He kept telling me, he said, I cannot approach my mother. I really cannot. And I said, why? He said, she would kill me because she expects more. My cousins, everybody, nothing less than 2.1. So how do I bring this before her? And this was an intelligent chap. Do you understand? So I think parents, in a way, have to be realistic and then also relate to their children. In some way, if the parent had very good relationship with that child, where they're able to talk and all of that, maybe that would have helped him to overcome some things that caused that. Because it was actually on 2.1, and then somehow
it dropped.
You get it. He was going through some stuff. Do you get it? So I think parents should have a relationship more than expectation. There should be more of a relationship and then less comparison. We shouldn't compare. Every child is unique.
And so now I want us to talk about suicide prevention. Now, first thing is suicide before we prevent it. Now, in your own terms, what is suicide? And then so I'm going to make this like a 3-part question. What is suicide? Then what causes suicide and how can it be prevented?
Okay, basically suicide is just self-annihilation. You know, people trying to take their own lives, you know, and there's been a lot of myths about it. People like, how can somebody come to the point where you kill yourself? You know, some people can't fathom it. Like, how do you kill yourself? So suicide happens. Whether it looks difficult for us to comprehend, the truth is it does happen, and we never really know the next person that will commit suicide. So suicide is basically you trying to take your own life, you know, and in some cultures it's a taboo, like here it's still a taboo.
It is a taboo,
Sometimes families hide about it when maybe a particular family member committed suicide and then they try to cover up. You know, that happens here a lot, you know. And then the next question was
what causes suicide?
A lot of things causes suicide. But the basic things I would like to discuss is under 3 factors. There's the biological one, that's like chemical imbalances, our brain chemistry and all of that. That happens, and that's one of the major causes of mental illness that people are not aware of. You know, some things just don't go well, no matter how much you try. You know how it is. Life happens, you know, and then the chemicals just don't balance up. And that's a big issue. So that's the biological aspect of it. And then there's life experiences or life events, like we usually call it, that leads to trauma. People have trauma. People are sexually abused as children. It becomes a post-traumatic disorder. Do you get it? They can't live daily. It begins to affect them. They are somewhere. They are hearing the voices, remembering the steps. That distorts their thoughts. Because the basic thing, before you commit suicide, your thoughts must have been distorted in a way. You're no more rational. That's very obvious. A rational human being would not just
decide to kill himself.
Exactly. So that's a big deal. Sometimes people lose their jobs. That's part of life issues. I had a married man who had chatted me up a few months ago, and what happened, he was having financial issues. He said things were going fine, and then all of a sudden, things weren't fine. And that's the big deal about mental health, coping skills, because life happens. That's the thing that I preach a lot. Life do happen. So what do you do when life happens? How do you build your resilience threshold for difficult days? Because they will happen, no matter what, regardless. The storm will come. You know, so when those life events happen, and somehow, I wouldn't say you were weak or unprepared, but when it happens and somehow you were not able to cope with it, it could lead to suicide.
But let me ask this very quick one. You know, you've said life happens, and then you have to somehow build a threshold, a resilience threshold. But now the question is, can you ever be ready? Because it takes a lot. I know a lot of people that's gone through death of loved ones, and they lost it after that. They were not able to grieve properly, and because of that, they became depressed. The whole chemical imbalance that you talk about happened. And then when you want to have a conversation with that person, it's a little bit dicey. So now it just keeps popping in my mind that it's easier said than done when you are at the other side. Can you ever be ready, even when life happens?
We can't ever be ready. But when it happens, we can actually find a way out of it.
Okay.
Do you understand? So life event is in fact, it's a major cause of suicide. You know, some people lose their marriages, they can't cope with the divorce. Some people, like we talked about, students and grades. That's a big deal. You know, grades. It's very common in most part of the world. They feel, oh, I failed, or I didn't do as well as I should have. You know, and then there's other factors, like genetic factors, hereditary. Some people have more predisposition towards suicide, towards mental health issues, because it runs in the family. It's just like the more occurrence it had been in the family, the more the likelihood of any member of the family having it. You know, it's an exposure. It's like most things in life. So that's a big factor too. So that causes it. We cannot always be so prepared for life. That's the reality that we all have to face. But the truth is, when life happens, we have to find a way, the alternative routes. There's always a way out.
Now let's talk about the ways to which we can use to deal with it. So what are the skills that one can engage in to help you prepare for eventualities?
Yeah, there's so many things. First of all, when difficult things happen, I think the first thing is tell yourself that this is what has happened to me. You know, because sometimes why we go through those issues are because we try to feel like, no, it can't be true. This did not happen.
Denial.
You know, denial. You know, you're like, this did not happen. I lost my dad and I've lost my mom. When I lost my mom, I couldn't cry because I never imagined that I would lose a mother at that time. And these were part of the things that brought me into all of this. So I had these tears. My heart was heavy with grief, but I didn't cry. You know, and after a couple of weeks, I broke down. I was hospitalized. Why? Because I couldn't come to the terms that I don't have a mother. But imagine if now this is the truth. I don't have a mother. She's gone. You know, tell yourself that this is the reality. This is what you're facing now. Be clear. That's always the first thing. You lose your job. Okay, I don't have a job right now.
Acceptance. Accept the situation.
This is the reality. Accept it. Embrace that thing. That, okay, this is my truth. This is my reality. But then what way out? That's the next thing. Because the mind is looking for action. What do I do? The mind is looking for you to put it to work.
All right.
Do you understand? By the time you say, okay, what's the next thing? I've lost my job. Okay, are there other places where I can work? You start to question your mind. You know, you give your subconscious what to do. In time, it will give you alternatives. That's what I believe. You lost the relationship and you feel, okay, like we ladies, you feel, okay, age, I'm getting older, who will marry me? But you forget that there are some guys that are in their 40s too looking for wives. There's always that alternative. Create a better alternative and then find a way towards it. Begin to walk towards it. Because idleness is one of the issues in all of this. Because when you're crying there and you're moaning it, denying it, you become idle. You become in a state of confusion. Because you really have not accepted it, first of all. You're walking in denial, and then you don't even know what to do next. But imagine the point where you have embraced this, you have accepted that this is what has happened, and okay, now what's the way forward? Your mind is at work. It's not as easy as I'm saying. You know, some words are always easier to say.
Yes.
But the truth is, it can't be done. We've gone through a lot of difficulty. I've lost the sister, I've lost the father, I've lost the mother, I've lost job, I've gone through all, I've lost relationship, I've lost many things, you know. But I realized that I've gained a lot too. Life is a balance. You know, there's sometimes you lose stuff and then you see that you gain some.
Let's talk about the awareness part now. How can awareness be done?
Part of this is this. You know, a lot of people get to watch this. People share it, it spreads, people hear information. And then more, I think, I tell people, no matter how good you are as an individual, what you can do is limited compared to government policies. Do you understand?
Yes.
Imagine we incorporating mental health into our primary health care. Where every local government, you have mental health care counselors. It's no big deal. They are doing it all over the world. You know, just non-professionals, you train them on basic stuff. You know, this would help. People come in for for mother and child issues. They come in for malaria and stuff. Somebody's there to talk to them. Okay, how are you now? How are you coping? Did you have any major life event recently? Just those basic questions. It helps you to identify people who are at risk. And then they can be follow up. And then, you know, I think government should be more involved. I really do believe this, because most of what is happening now is basically individuals. You know, I go places doing this a lot. I'm not paid for it. I do it because I saw that this is a gap that we can fill. So in our own capacity, we try. Look at this station, you're doing this. You're not paid for it. You're doing it on your own part. Do you understand? So people are doing their part. But collectively, if we come together more, people get more involved. That helps. More information is spread. Then government involvement in terms of policy change. That is the key thing.
I think government involvement will even make the treatment less expensive.
Yes.
It is expensive.
It is expensive.
It is expensive. I have seen a lot. When you hear the prices of therapists, psychologists, and all of that, it's quite expensive. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people get scared and feel like, okay, so if I am talking about I don't have money, this therapist wants to collect this money. I just kill myself.
Go to schools a lot,
and then
you know, and the schools are expensive.
And exactly, sometimes you talk to some people. Well, let me just see the thing while we in a bit to wrap up this interview. You know, there's some people that you talk to that make you fall more into that depressed state.
Yes.
You know, that's why most times I say, the kind of friends that you keep is very important, because these friends may not even know.
They don't understand.
They don't even know what they are doing. They may just be telling you, oh, my husband bought me this 50 million naira wristwatch. Oh, I had a lovely time in Dubai. Oh, High Impact Planet and Amusement Park was amazing. My husband took me there with my kids. And you've used Gary you ate the last night. And you're still praying to God that you should provide for your husband. So you're like, God, why me? Why? Why is this happening? Did you understand? So I feel like also, in as much as, yes, we go for counseling and all the kind of friends that you keep, people you surround yourself with, also matters a lot. Because sometimes they are probably the ones that sow these seeds into you, and it begins to grow until it becomes something that you can't control. And you're thinking of, you know what, why am I even on this set? Am I the only one? Well, my friend is enjoying life. She's always coming to tell me, okay, I feel like I should just end it. Do you understand? So I feel like that is also very important.
Let me chip in something based on that. Yeah, because that happens, you know, it's one thing that I behave in a particular way. It's another thing that you interpret it in a different way. Yeah, because why I wanted to talk more on this is key. I could be rejoicing over something that is good for me. I can't, because that bad things are happening, and keep quiet about good stuff. We have to balance. I believe that the universe is balanced. As much as bad things are happening somewhere, there are a lot of good things happening some other place. You know, this balance is one of the things that helps us with our mind. So your friend, you could celebrate with your friend. Look at it another way and be hopeful that someday, you know, that your friend is going through that and close to you in terms of proximity. It means you are nearby. You know, and that's how I choose to see things, you know. Sometimes it's you. You are the problem. How you are thinking about it, you know, so you need to work on those inadequacies, you know, and be able to rejoice with people and share gratitude together over things.
That's very important. So before I let you go, I need you to share like 1 or 2 things to people and how important it is that they take good care of themselves. And suicide is not the answer. Right?
Okay, I think that every one of us should really take mental health issues seriously, because with right mental health, we are able to manage our lives. We are able to stay alive and contribute to communities. We are able to think well, perceive well, feel well, and behave well. So mental health is a good deal. And one of the ways to do that is to become aware. And from awareness, put into action those things you learn. Sleep well, rest well, you know, and then check up yourself once in a while if you feel uneasy or you feel something has changed about you.
Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Well, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the videos we've posted and the new ones we're going to be posting. Yes, and click on the bell. It's just down here. Click on the notification bell to get notifications of more videos. Yes, thank you very much. Bye.
Difficult things happen. I think the first thing is tell yourself that this is what has happened to me.